Shalom, welcome back to the Sequential Zohar series. Today we are in Bereshit A, chapter 14, called Let Us Make Men, part 1. And this chapter starts with a question that a lot of people have noticed, even if they have never opened the Zohar. In Genesis, when the creation of the human being begins, the verse does not say, I will make men. It says, let us make men. So the question is simple, but it is also huge. Who is the us? Who is speaking? And why does the creation of the human being sound different from everything that came before it? That is the doorway into this section. The Zohar does not treat this as grammar. It treats it as a secret. And the secret begins in a very dramatic way. Rabbi Shimon hears a voice calling him, not Rabbi Shimon, but just Shimon, Shimon. Now, to us, that might sound like a small detail, but in the world of the Zohar, that detail matters. Because no ordinary person would address Rabbi Shimon that way. His spiritual stature is so great that everyone would naturally call him Rabbi. So when the voice leaves out the title, Rabbi Shimon understands that this is not a normal voice. This is a voice from above. The Zohar connects it with the Ancient of Days, with that hidden, ancient level of divine wisdom. And Rabbi Shimon says, in effect, now permission has been given. There is a secret here that was not allowed to be revealed before. But now, the door is open. And the question is this. When the Torah says, and Elohim said, let us make men, which level of Elohim is speaking? Is it the higher Elohim connected with Binah, the supernal mother? Or is it the lower Elohim connected with the Shechinah, the divine presence, as it comes into the lower worlds? Already, the Zohar is telling us something important. When we speak about the creation of the human being, we are not only speaking about biology. We are speaking about spiritual architecture. We are speaking about divine light becoming a soul in a world of separation with both greatness and danger. Rabbi Shimon then gives a parable. He speaks about a king who wants to build many buildings. The king has a craftsman, an artist, a builder. But the craftsman does not act alone. The craftsman builds only by the permission and direction of the king. In the language of Kabbalah, the king above is Abba, Father, the supernal wisdom. The craftsman above is Ima, Mother, the place where wisdom is developed, shaped, and brought into form. And below, the central pillar is also called the king, which refers to Zeir Anpin, the structure through which divine influence flows. The craftsman below is the Shechinah, the divine presence that brings the flow into the world we actually experience. Now, this is symbolic language. It is not talking about family roles in the ordinary human sense. Abba and Ima are names for divine qualities. Abba is the flash of wisdom, the seed of insight. Ima is understanding, expansion, formation, the womb where the idea becomes something that can exist. So when creation unfolds, the Zohar pictures it like this. The owner of the building says, "What is to be made?" The craftsman completes it. "Let there be light. Let there be a firmament. Let there be luminaries." The divine saying comes from the higher wisdom, and the divine forming is carried out through the level called Elohim, the craftsman. That is the pattern. But when the creation reaches the human being, the pattern changes. And that change is the whole point. When the process reaches the world of separation, the world called Briyah, the craftsman speaks to the owner and say, "Let us make man." That is a reversal. Until now, the higher source speaks and the craftsman makes. But with humanity, the forming power says, "Let us do this together. Let us create a being in image and likeness." Why? Because the human being is not just another created thing. The human being is the place where upper and lower meet. The human being carries light from above, but also enters a world where separation, confusion, ego, and choice are real. That is why the Zohar says the owner of the building answers with a warning. Yes, it is good to create man, but he will sin, he will fall, he will be foolish. And the Zohar brings the verse, "A wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is the grief of his mother." This is very deep. The Zohar is saying that the consequences of human sin are felt especially in the realm of Ima, the realm that forms the soul as it enters creation. Abba, the highest wisdom, remains beyond that damage. Ima, the mothering level that brings the soul into form, feels the pain of that separation. So Ima says, if the consequence is connected to me, then I will create him in my image. That is why the next verse says that Elohim created man in his image. It does not say in our image. The Zohar reads that shift very carefully. First it says, let us make man. Then it says, Elohim created man in his image. For the Zohar, every word matters. It shows that humanity is made through relationship, while the forming of Adam is connected to Elohim, the mother level that gives shape. Then the story moves to Adam's sin. When Adam sins, the Zohar says, the king says to Ima, did I not tell you he would sin? And the result is exile. Adam is exiled and the mother is exiled with him. That line is painful because it means that when the human being falls, he does not fall alone. Our actions affect the divine presence that accompanies us. When we go into exile, the Shechinah goes into exile with us. When consciousness falls, the holy presence is hidden inside that fall. This is one of the reasons the Zohar never treats human behavior as small. A thought matters. A word matters. A reaction matters. Because the human being is not spiritually insignificant. We are not just trying to be nice people. We are participating in the repair or concealment of light. But the friends of Rabbi Shimon ask a very important question. They say, wait, does this mean there is separation between Abba and Ima? Does it mean one part belongs to Atzilut and another belongs to Briyah? And Rabbi Shimon answers, no, not like that. The human of Atzilut is male and female together, from the side of Abba and the side of Ima together. There is unity at the higher level. So we should not misunderstand the teaching. The Zohar is not saying that father and mother are divided like two competing forces. It is saying that when divine unity descends into creation, different aspects become visible. In Atzilut, everything is still united. In Briyah, separation begins to appear. And the human soul has to live right there, at the edge between unity and separation. That is why the Zohar says man was created double-faced, not flat, not simple, not one-dimensional. There is a side that faces upward toward unity, wisdom, and light, and there is a side that faces downward toward the body, the world, time, pressure, desire, and limitation. And that is not an insult to being human. That is the drama of being human. We carry both directions inside us. Then the Zohar goes deeper into the language of image and likeness. It says the human being of Briyah does not possess image and likeness in the same way as the higher Adam of Atzilut. Instead, this level has light and darkness together. And the name Elohim is connected with that mixture, light and darkness, revelation and concealment, soul and garment, clarity and confusion. The Zohar says that the light involved here is connected to the light created on the first day. That first light is not just physical daylight. It is a spiritual light, a light through which Adam could see from one end of reality to the other. But that light becomes hidden away for the righteous. And alongside the light, there is darkness. Not all darkness is the same. Some darkness is just concealment that protects the light, like a garment protects the body. But some darkness becomes the place where a person can stumble. The Zohar says this darkness is part of why Abba did not want to participate directly in Adam's creation. Because the human being would be capable of sin, capable of misusing the light, capable of forgetting where he comes from. And here is where the chapter becomes very personal. Because when we hear, "Let us make man," we might think the topic is only ancient creation. But the Zohar is also describing us right now. Every one of us has light. Every one of us also has darkness. Every one of us has a divine image, but that image is wrapped in garments. Personality is a garment. The body is a garment. Emotion is a garment. Memory is a garment. Even our pain can become a garment. And the spiritual question is, does the garment reveal the light, or does it hide the light? That is why spiritual self-worth matters so much. Not ego, not pride, not pretending we are perfect. Real spiritual self-worth means I understand that my soul is not cheap. my choices are not meaningless. My life is not random. There is a divine investment in me. And because there is a divine investment in me, I have responsibility. Low self-worth can look humble, but many times it is not humility. Many times it is a way of saying, my choices do not matter. My words do not matter. My anger does not matter. My habits do not matter. The Zohar says the opposite. You matter so much that your inner world touches the upper worlds. Your fall matters. Your repair matters. Your awakening matters. Your desire to return matters. And that is why this chapter begins with Rabbi Shimon being recognized as light. The Zohar wants us to recognize the holiness of the teacher, because through that recognition we can connect to the light he reveals. But it also wants us to recognize something about ourselves. The human being is created with astonishing spiritual dignity. We are made from light. We are clothed in darkness. And we are asked to turn that darkness into a garment for the light, not a prison for the light. So, what do we take from this episode? First, the phrase, "let us make man," is not a mistake or a casual plural. It is a doorway into the mystery of how the soul is formed. Second, humanity is different from the rest of creation because the human being carries freedom. And freedom means risk. A stone cannot betray its purpose. A star cannot forget its source, but a human being can. And because we can fall, we can also rise. Third, sin is not only rule breaking. In the Zohar's language, sin is separation. It is the soul forgetting unity and acting as if it's alone. And repair means remembering connection. It means bringing the Shechinah out of exile in the places where we have hidden her. And fourth, your darkness does not cancel your light. The whole teaching depends on both. If there were only light, there would be no work. If there were only darkness, there would be no hope. But because there is light inside the garment, there is a path. There is a reason to keep going. There is a reason to refine one more thought, one more word, one more action. At the end of the passage, the friends rejoice. They say, "How fortunate we are to hear words that were not heard until now. That is the feeling we should live with. Not that we understood everything, not that we mastered the mystery, but that we were allowed to stand near the doorway. We were allowed to hear that the creation of the human being is not small, and our own lives are not small either. So, as you move through the day, try holding one question. Is what I am doing right now turning my darkness into a garment for light? Or is it letting the garment cover the light completely? That question alone can change the way we speak. It can change the way we react. It can change the way we see ourselves. Shalom.